Picture this. Your alarm goes off at 6 in the morning, and somewhere between the silence of sleep and the noise of waking up, your stomach growls. It's been nearly 15 hours since your last meal. Every fitness guru you've ever followed, every article you've ever read, every well-meaning person at the gym has drilled the same warning into your head: you need to eat before you move. You need fuel. You need that protein shake, that banana, that bowl of oatmeal, or your body will shut down, your muscles will waste away, and you'll collapse somewhere between your driveway and the end of the street. But today, for some reason, you ignore all of that. You lace up your shoes anyway. You step outside. And then something happens that nobody warned you about. Instead of crashing, instead of your legs turning to rubber and your vision going blurry, you feel something unexpected. A quiet surge of energy moves through your body. Your mind, which moments ago felt thick and foggy, suddenly sharpens into a focus you haven't felt in weeks. Your steps feel lighter. Your body feels almost weightless. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a question starts forming: what is actually happening inside me right now? What's happening is not magic. It's not a fluke. It's one of the most powerful and ancient biological programs encoded into your DNA. A survival mechanism shaped by millions of years of human evolution, one that modern life, with its constant snacking and obsessive meal timing, has quietly buried. This is the science of fasted exercise. And once you understand what's truly going on inside your body when you move without food, you will never look at your morning routine the same way again. Before we go any further, let's get one thing straight, because there's a myth sitting at the heart of the entire fitness industry that almost nobody questions. It's the idea that the food you eat before a workout is what directly powers your muscles during that workout. That protein bar you grabbed on the way to the gym, that smoothie you blended at 5:30 in the morning, people genuinely believe those calories are being converted into usable energy in real time, like fuel going straight into an engine. But that's not how the human body works, not even close. Digestion is a slow, complicated, multi-stage process. That banana you ate 20 minutes before stepping on the treadmill is still sitting in your stomach while you're already a mile in, already sweating, already breathing hard. The nutrients from that food haven't entered your bloodstream yet. They certainly haven't reached your muscles. So if your pre-workout snack isn't actually powering your workout, what is? The answer is your internal reserves. The energy your muscles are using right now comes from glycogen, which is stored carbohydrate held in your liver and muscles, ready to be mobilized at a moment's notice. And it comes from the tens of thousands of calories locked inside your body fat. Energy reserves so enormous that even a lean, fit person carries enough stored fuel to run several marathons without eating a single bite. Fasted exercise isn't about starving your body. It's about teaching your body how to actually access the fuel it's already been storing. The first time you exercise in a fasted state, your body reacts with something close to confusion. Think about it this way: if you've spent years, maybe even your entire adult life, eating before every workout, your metabolic system has been trained to expect a constant supply of dietary carbohydrates. Your cells know how to burn glucose efficiently because that's all they've had to do. Insulin, the hormone that rises every time you eat, has been the dominant signal governing your metabolism. High insulin means fat burning is essentially off. It's a biological stop sign for your fat cells. But when you wake up after a long overnight fast and start moving before eating, your insulin levels are at their absolute lowest. And that low insulin state is the green light your body has been waiting for. Your fat cells begin releasing fatty acids into your bloodstream. The problem is that during those first few fasted sessions, your body isn't very good at using those fatty acids for fuel. It's like switching from gasoline to diesel in a car that was only built for one type of fuel. The engine still runs, but it sputters a little. You might feel a slight heaviness in your legs. A low-grade mental fog might settle in. Your movements might feel less fluid than usual. This is completely normal, and it is temporary. What's happening beneath the surface during this discomfort is remarkable. Your liver is rapidly drawing down its glycogen stores. Your cells are being forced to upregulate the enzymes and molecular machinery responsible for breaking down fat for energy. You are not just burning calories. You are actively remodeling your metabolism at the cellular level. By the end of your first week of consistent fasted exercise, the discomfort starts to fade. The fog begins to lift. Your energy starts to stabilize, and something far more interesting begins to happen with your hormones. Growth hormone surges. And we're not talking about a modest uptick. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation has shown that the combination of fasting and exercise can drive growth hormone levels to 5 or even 6 times their normal baseline. That number sounds almost unbelievable, but the reason it happens makes perfect biological sense. Your body, recognizing that food isn't available, deploys growth hormone as a protective shield around your muscle tissue. It's essentially telling your body, these tissues are off limits. Do not break them down for energy. Go find the fuel from somewhere else. That somewhere else is your stored fat. Growth hormone preserves your muscle while simultaneously accelerating fat burning. It's one of the most elegant metabolic tricks your body knows how to perform, and fasted exercise is one of the most reliable ways to trigger it. At the same time, your cells are becoming dramatically more sensitive to insulin. This might sound counterintuitive since we just said low insulin is good. But what's actually happening is that your cells are becoming more responsive and efficient when insulin does show up. Scientists call this becoming nutrient hungry. When you finally sit down for your post-workout meal and break your fast, your body handles those incoming calories completely differently than it would have before. Instead of storing them as fat, your body routes them directly toward muscle repair, toward restoring glycogen, toward rebuilding the tissues you just worked. The same meal eaten after a fasted workout has a fundamentally different metabolic effect than the same meal eaten on any ordinary morning. You're not just eating smarter, your biology is processing food smarter. This leads to something researchers call metabolic flexibility, and it might be one of the most underrated markers of human health that exists. Metabolic flexibility is your body's ability to switch smoothly between fuel sources burning carbohydrates when they're available and burning fat when they're not, without getting stuck, without crashing, without needing constant external input to function. Most people living in the modern world are metabolically inflexible. Their bodies are so dependent on a steady stream of dietary carbohydrates that even skipping a single meal sends their energy levels into a tailspin. Their mood tanks, their focus disappears. They become irritable, sluggish, and desperate for food, not because they're truly starving, but because their metabolism has forgotten how to access its own internal reserves. Fasted exercise begins to reverse this dependence. As you move into your first month of consistent practice, your performance starts to rebound. The initial adjustment period, with its temporary sluggishness and effort, is behind you now. Your body has begun the process of fat adaptation, the point at which fat becomes a genuinely reliable, efficient fuel source, rather than a backup system your body reluctantly reaches for. Research published in the British Journal of Nutrition, which reviewed dozens of studies on the topic, found that people exercising in a fasted state burn between 20 and 30% more fat during the workout itself compared to people who exercised after eating. That's not a rounding error. That's a fundamental metabolic shift that adds up to enormous change over time. But here's something that almost nobody talks about when they discuss fasted exercise. The most profound changes aren't happening in your muscles or your fat tissue. They're happening in your brain. When blood sugar is low and stable, and when your liver begins converting fat into ketones, your brain receives an alternative fuel source that many researchers believe is actually superior to glucose for certain types of cognitive work. Ketones are remarkably clean-burning molecules. They produce more cellular energy per unit of oxygen consumed, and they generate less metabolic waste and oxidative stress in the process. On top of that, the mild physiological stress of fasted movement triggers the release of a protein called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of BDNF as fertilizer for your neurons. It repairs existing brain cells, promotes the growth of new neural connections, supports mental clarity, and plays a meaningful role in mood stability and emotional resilience. This is why so many people who have adapted to fasted exercise describe a kind of sharpness during their morning workouts that they simply don't experience at any other time of day. They're not imagining it. Their brain is running on a cleaner, more efficient fuel, and it's being actively repaired and reinforced in the process. After 3 months of consistent fasted training, the changes in your body are no longer temporary adaptations. They've become structural, permanent. Your mitochondria, the tiny energy-producing structures inside every one of your cells, have increased in both number and efficiency through a process called mitochondrial biogenesis. This means your body can now generate more energy with less waste. Across every single activity, you do not just exercise, but thinking, working, walking, All of it. Research highlighted by Dr. Mark Mattson in the New England Journal of Medicine points to a measurable reduction in chronic inflammation markers in people who regularly practice fasted exercise. Proteins like C-reactive protein and interleukin-6, both of which are strongly associated with aging, disease, and metabolic dysfunction, decline significantly. Lower inflammation means faster recovery, better immune function, reduced disease risk, and a body that simply functions better at every level. You're also activating something called the AMPC pathway, which researchers sometimes refer to as the body's master metabolic switch. When AMPC is switched on, it triggers a process called autophagy. And autophagy might be the most important biological process for long-term health that most people have never heard of. Autophagy is your body's cellular cleaning system. Your cells identify damaged proteins, dysfunctional components, and accumulated internal debris, and they break them down, recycling the raw materials to build fresh, healthy structures. It's like a deep renovation happening inside every cell in your body simultaneously. This process slows significantly when you eat constantly throughout the day, because insulin signals keep it suppressed. Fasted exercise is one of the most powerful known triggers for autophagy. You are essentially giving your cells permission to clean house. Now, none of this means fasted exercise is perfect for every person in every situation, and being honest about that matters. If your goal is maximum explosive performance, if you're a competitive powerlifter, a sprinter, an elite athlete who needs every last percentage point of peak output, there is evidence that high-intensity efforts may take a small hit in a fully fasted state. Studies have documented a potential 10 to 15% drop in peak power output when glycogen is depleted and glucose isn't readily available. If performance records are your primary objective, some carbohydrate before maximum intensity efforts may serve you better. But for the vast majority of people doing moderate intensity cardio, general strength training, recreational sports, or everyday fitness activities, fasted exercise not only works but often feels significantly better once the body has adapted. There are also populations who need to approach this carefully. Pregnant women, people who are breastfeeding, anyone with a history of disordered eating, and people managing type 1 diabetes all fall into categories where fasted exercise carries specific risks that require medical guidance before attempting. For some women, particularly those with already high stress loads or low body fat, excessive fasted exercise can raise cortisol to levels that begin interfering with reproductive hormones, causing menstrual disruption or hormonal imbalance. The word to pay attention to there is excessive. Moderate, sensible fasted exercise is generally well tolerated, but your body communicates with you constantly and you need to listen. Sudden dizziness, cold, sweats, heart palpitations, extreme nausea, or a feeling like you might faint are your body's clear signals to stop, refuel, and reassess. Those signals are not weakness. They are safety mechanisms built into your biology, and they deserve your full attention. The deeper reason any of this works at all lies in your evolutionary history. For roughly 99% of the time our species has existed on this planet, exercise and fasting were not two separate things. They were the same thing. Our ancestors didn't eat a bowl of oatmeal and then go for a jog. They woke up, moved their bodies, hunted, gathered, climbed, ran, and then they ate if they were successful. The humans who survived were not the ones who needed food before physical effort. They were the ones whose bodies performed best precisely when food was scarce, whose minds sharpened when hungry, whose muscles kept firing even hours after the last meal. Those are the genes you carry. That biological programming is still inside you. It hasn't been erased. It's just been buried under decades of conditioning that taught you to fear an empty stomach. We've pathologized hunger in the modern world. We treat it as an emergency, a malfunction, a warning sign that must be corrected immediately. We eat not because we're genuinely hungry, but because it's a certain time of day, because the food is there, because we're bored, because stress made us reach for the pantry. We have created a food environment that is completely unprecedented in human history, one of perpetual abundance, and our bodies designed for cycles of effort and rest, feast and famine, are struggling under the weight of it. Fasted exercise is one of the most direct ways to restore the balance your biology has always known. Without rejection of modern life, without extreme deprivation, just a deliberate, intelligent reconnection with a pattern your body still recognizes and responds to powerfully. If you want to try this, start gently. Don't lace up and sprint 5 miles on your first fasted morning. a 30-minute brisk walk is genuinely one of the best places to begin. That kind of low-intensity, steady-state movement naturally operates in what exercise physiologists call Zone 2, a heart rate range where fat oxidation is at its highest and your body is learning to burn stored energy most efficiently. Drink water before you go. Add a small pinch of sea salt or a sugar-free electrolyte supplement to stay hydrated, because fasting lowers insulin, which causes your kidneys to excrete more sodium and water than usual. When you finish your workout, don't rush to eat. Give yourself another 30 to 60 minutes before breaking your fast. That extended window allows growth hormone to remain elevated, keeps fat oxidation running at an accelerated rate, and gives autophagy a little more time to do its work. When you do eat, prioritize protein to support muscle recovery, include healthy fats, and add carbohydrates to replenish glycogen. This rhythmic pattern stress the system through fasted movement, then deeply nourish it during recovery is what researchers call the pulse effect, and it's one of the most powerful metabolic strategies available to you. This is not about punishment. It's not about proving something or pushing through suffering to earn your food. It's about working with the biology you were built with rather than constantly working against it. It's about clearing the metabolic backlog that accumulates when insulin never drops, when cells never get the signal to clean house, when your body never has the opportunity to remember what it knows how to do. Every time you choose to move in a fasted state, you are sending a message to every cell in your body that you are not fragile. That hunger is not an emergency, that you carry within you all the fuel, all the focus, and all the capability you need. The mitochondria you build through this practice will serve you for years. The insulin sensitivity you develop will protect you from metabolic disease long into the future. The mental clarity you gain will spill over into every area of your life. The metabolic flexibility you cultivate will set you free from the rigid meal, timing, and constant snacking that holds so many people back from feeling their best. So here is the only question that matters now. Tomorrow morning, before breakfast, would you be willing to take a 20-minute walk? Not a marathon, not a CrossFit class, just a walk. Outside in the morning air on an empty stomach. Pay attention to how your body responds. Notice the quality of your thoughts, the lightness in your limbs, the sharpness behind your eyes. See if what the science describes matches what you actually feel. You don't need to commit to anything permanent. You just need to run one experiment on the most sophisticated and capable machine you will ever own, your own body. Because what's already stored inside you, waiting to be accessed, is far more powerful than anything you could ever eat before a workout.